Jack Rayner didn't want to go back into space. He had seen too much. War, death, and betrayal. It had taken everything from him. But when the message came through the old emergency channel, something made him stop and listen. Distress signal. Unknown source. Moon Zeta 9. Please. Help. The voice was weak. Female. Almost a whisper. But what caught Jack's attention was the signal's location. Moon Zeta 9 was listed as abandoned. No colonies. No survivors. Nothing but ruins. After the Great War between humans and the alien faction known as the Valari, Jack leaned forward in his small repair ship. The screen blinked again. The message repeated, then ended with something strange. A child's cry, soft and distant, like a human baby. He frowned. That can't be right. Still, he changed course. Hours later, Jack landed on the surface of Moon Zeta 9. The moon looked worse than he remembered. Black sand, shattered towers, and burned-out vehicles scattered like bones. Wind howled through the empty ruins, and the air carried the smell of rust and ash. He stepped out in his armored suit, helmet lights glowing. He was alone, or so he thought. Then, he heard it again. A cry, soft, high-pitched. A child. His heart jumped. Jack followed the sound through broken buildings and dark corridors. He pushed aside fallen metal, stepped over collapsed beams, and moved deeper underground. The signal had led him to a place long forgotten, a small shelter, half buried, in dust. Inside, he found something that shocked him. A child, small, maybe 5 years old. Her skin was pale, her hair dark and soft. She looked human, but her eyes weren't. They glowed faintly purple, and when she saw Jack, she didn't scream. She smiled and whispered, "Daddy?" Jack froze. "What?" Before he could move, a tall figure stepped out of the shadows. She was alien, no doubt. No, silvery skin, glowing markings on her arms, and long, dark robes that moved like smoke. Her eyes locked on Jack's face, and then to the child. "This child," she said, her voice quiet and deep. "She looks human." Jack raised his hand, ready to draw his blaster. "Who are you?" The alien woman stepped closer. Her expression was calm, but something in her eyes looked broken. She knelt beside the child, placing a hand on her shoulder gently. "I am Soraya." "And this child?" She paused, then looked straight into Jack's eyes. "Is yours." Jack shook his head. "That's impossible." "She has your blood," Soraya whispered. "Your face, your strength." Jack stared at the little girl. She stared back, smiling, just like someone who truly knew him. "No, I don't even know you." "You did," Soraya said. "Once, long ago, during the peace talks before the war. You came to our world. We were allies then. You saved me. And we shared one night." Jack's breath caught. He had been to the Valari homeworld years ago, but that memory was foggy, like a dream. Too much had happened since. Could she be telling the truth? "I don't remember." "They took your memories," Soraya said softly. "The High Command didn't want you to know. They said it was a mistake. They wanted to protect you, or maybe control you." The child reached out and touched Jack's hand. "Daddy," she said again. He felt her skin, warm and real. His heart beat faster. Still, he backed away. "No, this is a trick. Why now? Why call me here?" Soraya looked toward the ceiling of the ruined shelter. "Because they're coming." "Who?" "The ones who want her dead." Jack's blood ran cold. "She's a hybrid," Soraya said. "Not fully human. Not fully Valari. That makes her dangerous to both sides. Too powerful. Too different. They fear her." Jack stared at the little girl. "What's her name?" Soraya whispered. "Lyra." The girl smiled at him again. "Lyra," she repeated, as if proud of her name. Suddenly outside, something roared in the wind. Jack turned sharply. His ship's warning lights flashed. A new signal. 3 ships inbound. Unknown ID. Weapons active. Soraya stood. They found us. Jack didn't wait. He scooped the girl into his arms and looked at Soraya. Can you run? She nodded. Then let's move. They ran into the ruins as explosions shook the ground. Jack had no idea what was happening. But one thing was clear. His life had just changed forever, and so had the fate of a child who might be his own. The ground shook behind them. Jack didn't look back. He just ran. The little girl, Lyra, clung to his neck, her small arms tight, but trusting. Soraya ran beside them, her long legs silent, graceful even through falling metal and swirling ash. The ruined city of Moon Zeta 9 had become a trap, and Jack had just stepped into it. Explosions echoed from above. The enemy ships had landed. Where are we going? Jack shouted. Soraya pointed ahead. There's a tunnel beneath the old water plant. I built it years ago. It's safe. They don't know about it. Jack didn't trust her fully. Not yet. But he had no choice. He followed. They ducked under broken pipes, past rusted doors, and finally reached a round hatch hidden behind a fallen wall. Soraya pressed her hand. To the scanner. It clicked open with a soft hiss. Inside it was cold and narrow. The lights were weak, flickering like stars ready to die. Here, she said, closing the hatch behind them. We'll rest. For now. Jack placed Lyra gently on a soft mat. She curled up already sleepy like nothing had happened. Jack turned to Soraya. Talk. Everything. I want the truth. She looked tired. Not just physically, but deeply, like someone who had been carrying a secret for too long. You don't remember me, she said, sitting across from him. I don't, Jack said. But that child, she called me Daddy, and her eyes. They looked like mine. They are yours, Soraya said. Lyra was born 5 years ago. I raised her alone. In hiding. Why? Soraya took a deep breath. Because both sides, humans and Valari, would never allow her to live. Jack frowned. She's just a child. No, Soraya whispered. She's the first of her kind, half human, half Valari. That makes her powerful in ways no one understands. Even me. Jack shook his head. You said we met during the peace talks. Soraya nodded. You saved me from an ambush. I was injured. You carried me through the fire. We spent one night together. No lies, no politics, just two people trying to forget the war. Jack touched his forehead. There was a blank space in his memory around that time. The commanders had said it was battle trauma. But now, maybe they had erased more than pain. They wiped my memory, didn't they? Yes, you were a hero, a symbol. They didn't want your story tainted with a Valari or a child. Jack stood, pacing. So why now? Why call me after all this time? Soraya's eyes grew wet. Because they finally found us. I knew I couldn't protect her alone anymore, and I didn't want her to die without ever meeting her father. Jack turned to look at Lyra. She was asleep, one hand tucked under, her head, peaceful, innocent. She doesn't even know me, he said. She knows you, Soraya replied. She asks about you every night. I told her stories, showed her a picture I had from that day. Jack sat down, his heart heavy. So what now? We keep running? No, Soraya said. You have to decide, stay with her, protect her, or walk away and forget again. Suddenly the walls trembled. A deep humming sound filled the room. Jack grabbed his scanner. Movement, he said. Multiple life signs, above us. They're searching. Soraya stood fast. They brought hunters. Jack narrowed his eyes. What kind of hunters? She met his gaze. The kind that don't stop until someone is dead. The humming above grew louder. Jack didn't speak. He watched the scanner screen in his hand. Red dots blinked and moved slowly. 6 life forms, all armed, all closing in. He looked at Lyra, still asleep on the mat. Innocent, fragile, but also strange. She had human features, soft hair, small hands. But there was something more. Her breathing was steady, almost controlled, too calm for a child who had just escaped death. Jack opened his side pouch and took out a thin metal needle. A small DNA tester. Old, but reliable. Soraya stepped forward. "What are you doing?" "I need to know," Jack whispered. "I need proof." Soraya looked down at her daughter. Her expression changed, like she was scared he would see too much. Jack gently pricked Lyra's finger. A single drop of purple-red blood landed on the reader. The screen blinked. Processing. Match found. 99.9% genetic paternal connection. Jack's heart dropped. There was no mistake. "She's mine," he said quietly. "She really is." But the screen didn't stop. It continued scanning. The blinking lights changed color, now flashing blue, green, then suddenly red. A warning flashed on the screen. "Alert. Unknown genetic enhancements detected. Subject DNA is unclassified. Warning. Possible evolutionary mutation detected." Jack stared at it. "What does this mean?" Soraya looked down. Her voice shook. "I didn't tell you everything." Jack stood up. "Now is the time, Soraya." "She wasn't born normal," Soraya said. "She started walking at 3 months, speaking by 5 months. She learns faster than anyone I've ever seen. Even the elders fear her." Jack felt cold. "You said she was a hybrid." "She's more than that," Soraya whispered. "Her body heals almost instantly. Her mind, she can hear thoughts sometimes, small things, but it's growing. She's changing every day." Jack looked back at the scanner. The warning light was still flashing. Unknown DNA. Part human, part alien. But something else mixed in. Something new. "Why didn't you tell me this earlier?" "Because if the wrong people find out..." Soraya paused. "They won't just kill her. They'll want to study her. Take her apart piece by piece." Suddenly, boom. The ground above shattered. A beam of dust and light burst through the ceiling. "They found us," Jack shouted. Soraya grabbed Lyra. The child woke instantly. No scream. Just a quiet blink. And then her small hand lit up with a faint glow. Jack's eyes widened. "What is that?" Lyra looked at him and said, "They're bad people, Daddy. I can stop them." "No," Soraya said quickly. "Not yet. You're still too young." Another explosion hit. Rocks fell. The hatch above them burst open. 6 tall figures dropped in, thin, armored, with glowing red eyes. Their weapons hummed with heat. One pointed at Lyra. "Target found. Begin extraction." Jack raised his blaster. "You'll have to go through me." But before he could fire, everything froze. The air turned heavy. The lights flickered out. Then, the soldiers dropped their weapons and grabbed their heads. Screaming, Lyra stood, her eyes glowing bright now, pure white light. "No!" Soraya cried. "Stop, Lyra!" But the child didn't move. She simply stared at the soldiers. And then, they fell. One by one. Not dead, but unconscious. Jack stared, unable to breathe. She looked at him. Calm. "Did I do bad, Daddy?" Jack knelt beside her, still shocked. "No. You saved us." "But what are you?" Soraya answered. "She is the future, Jack. Something neither human nor alien can control. That's why they fear her." Jack held his daughter close, and for the first time, he was more afraid of the truth than of the enemies chasing them. The air was still. The 6 hunters lay on the floor, unconscious, twitching. Their weapons burned hot, their armor cracked. Jack couldn't look away from the small girl standing between him and the danger. Lyra, his daughter. She turned and smiled at him, like nothing strange had happened. "I didn't want to hurt them," she said softly. Jack's voice was low. "You didn't, but you could have." Soraya quickly stepped in and picked her up. "She's not ready. Each time she uses her power, it grows stronger. We have to go. Now." Jack didn't argue. He led the way, blaster in hand, scanning every hallway. The emergency tunnel twisted, deep beneath Moon Zeta 9. Old pipes creaked overhead and strange sounds echoed in the dark. Metal groans, shifting stone. And something else. Breathing, not theirs. Soraya whispered, "We're not alone down here." Jack stopped. From behind a broken wall, something moved. Slow, heavy, watching. Then, a voice. Gravelly. Broken. "You brought her. The Star Child." Jack aimed his blaster. "Show yourself." A tall creature stepped from the shadows. Not human. Not Valari. He was something else. His body thin and long, covered in cracked pale armor. His eyes glowed blue. But he was not holding a weapon. "I am Turok," he said. "I was one of the Watchers, long ago. I stayed behind. I waited." Jack narrowed his eyes. Waited for what? For her. He pointed at Lyra. Jack moved between them. "You stay away from her." Turok did not move. He simply nodded. "She is not meant to die here. You must go to the core. Only there can she unlock the truth." Soraya's face turned pale. "The core is buried, sealed after the war." "Not anymore," Turok said. "It's waking up because of her. They all feel it. That's why they hunt. That's why they fear." Lyra peeked out from Soraya's arms. "I dreamed of him," she whispered. "He was in the fire, watching me." Turok bowed slowly. "Yes, little one. I saw you before you were born." Jack felt dizzy. "What is she? What are you all hiding?" Turok looked at him. "She is the key, the spark left behind when the stars fell. She can break what was built, or build what was broken, but only if she survives." Suddenly, the tunnel. Lights blinked red. Jack's scanner beeped, more enemy signals coming fast. 10. No, 15. "They found us again," he muttered. Turok looked at the far wall and raised a glowing hand. A new path opened, a hidden tunnel, untouched by time. "Take this way," he said. "It will lead you down, to the truth, to the core." Jack didn't trust the strange alien, but right now it was the only way out. He grabbed Soraya's hand. "Let's go." Lyra smiled at Turok as they passed. "Thank you." He nodded. "Your path is long, little star, but I will keep them off your trail." The tunnel closed behind them, sealing with a heavy sound. Jack ran. The air grew warmer as they went deeper. Old systems hummed back to life. Strange symbols lit the walls. Lyra touched them as they passed, and the symbols glowed brighter under her fingers. "She's activating the old tech," Soraya said. "Even I can't read this language." Jack looked around. "This place, it's older than Valari or humans, isn't it?" "Yes," Soraya said quietly. "This moon was never just a base. It was built for something else." Ahead, a huge, circular door stood in their path, covered in symbols and pulsing with light. Lyra walked up to it. The door reacted, with a deep hum. It opened. The round door slid open with a low rumble, revealing a massive chamber hidden deep inside Moon Zeta 9. It was dark at first, cold and silent like a tomb. Then, the walls lit up with soft blue light as Lyra stepped inside. Jack and Soraya followed, slowly, weapons ready. "What is this place?" Jack asked, his voice echoing. Soraya looked around. "It's older than Valari history. We called it the core, but no one ever found a way in. Until now." The walls were covered with strange carvings, neither human nor Valari. Jack saw stars, galaxies, and tall figures holding something glowing between their hands. A small child. In the center of the chamber, a crystal platform floated in midair. As Lyra approached, it lowered itself and opened like a flower. Jack held his breath. "Wait, don't touch anything yet." Too late. Lyra stepped on it. A beam of light shot up from the platform, hitting the ceiling, and suddenly the entire room came alive. Holograms danced around them, showing cities, ships, wars. And then a final scene, a child with glowing eyes standing between two armies, both bowing before her. Jack stepped back. Is that Lyra? Soraya nodded. That's the prophecy the elders tried to erase, the one they feared. Jack stared at the vision. They called it a war, but it looks like peace. Yes, Soraya whispered. But to make peace, there must first be a choice. The holograms changed again, this time showing Lyra grown up, but the images split in two. In one version, she stood with humans and aliens united. In the other, she stood alone and everything behind her burned. Jack clenched his fists. Two futures, Soraya nodded. One she controls, one she can't escape. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the walls, deep, calm, ancient. Welcome, bearer of the hybrid star. You have awakened the memory of war. Jack stepped in front of Lyra. Who's speaking? The crystal platform pulsed. I am the keeper. I was built before memory, before species, to wait for her. The child, who is both and neither. Soraya bowed her head. This AI was said to control the moon's true weapon, something that could decide the fate of entire planets. Jack narrowed his eyes. Weapon? No, the keeper said. Not a weapon, a judge. She is not meant to destroy, unless forced. Just then, crack! A blast shook the chamber. The ceiling cracked. Dust fell. Jack looked at his scanner. Enemy ships had breached the outer walls. They were coming again. We have to go, Jack shouted. You cannot run forever, said the keeper. The war follows her because it fears her. She must stand, or fall. There is no middle. Lyra walked to the edge of the platform. Her face was calm. I don't want to fight, she said softly. But if they try to hurt my family again, I will stop them. The platform glowed again. A small crystal floated toward her. A gift, Soraya gasped. It's the ancient core stone. It can command systems, unlock defenses. Jack looked down at his daughter. She doesn't even know what she's holding. But Lyra looked straight at him. I do now. Suddenly, her voice wasn't just in the room. It was inside their minds. Jack blinked. Did you just speak in my head? Lyra nodded. There? Almost here. But I can protect you. I can protect everyone if you stay with me. Jack looked at Soraya. Her eyes were full of fear and hope. He turned back to his daughter and said, Then I'm with you. All the way. Above them, alarms screamed. The final battle was coming, and the galaxy had no idea that its future was in the hands of a small child who only wanted peace. The wall shook again. Jack stood at the edge of the glowing platform, gripping his blaster tight. Lyra held the core stone close to her chest. Her little fingers trembled, but her eyes didn't. Those glowing white eyes stayed calm, watching everything. The door behind them blew open. Enemy soldiers stormed in. Tall, armored, silent. No words, no warnings. Just death in their hands. Jack raised his blaster and shouted, Soraya, take Lyra, run. Hake. Soraya didn't move. I stay with her. Jack fired first. One soldier dropped. Then another. But they kept coming. Suddenly, a net shot from one of the attackers, straight at Soraya. No, Jack roared. The net wrapped around her, glowing, with electric light. She collapsed to the ground, shaking, her hands locked in the trap. Soraya, Lyra screamed, Mommy! Jack tried to reach her, but the soldiers blocked his way. He fought like a wild storm, punching, shooting, shielding Lyra. He took a blast to his shoulder but didn't stop. He grabbed Lyra and ducked behind a broken console. Lyra, he said, panting, you have to listen to me now. They're taking your mother. You need to run. Tears filled her glowing eyes. But I can save her. Jack placed a hand on her cheek. I know, but not like this. Not with hate. Not with fear. The soldiers dragged Soraya toward the exit. One turned to Lyra. Come quietly, hybrid. Or we end her now. Lyra stood up slowly. She looked small. Just a child. But when she stepped forward, the core stone rose from her hands and floated above her head. Her voice came, quiet, but filled with something ancient. You touched my family. Now I touch your mind. Her eyes flared with white light. The soldier froze. He dropped his weapon, then another one dropped. Then all of them, one by one, fell to their knees, hands on their heads, crying out in fear. Jack pulled Soraya free from the net. She gasped for breath, looking at Lyra in shock. She's controlling them. Lyra walked toward them, arms glowing, voice still calm. Daddy said not to hurt. So I won't. But I will stop. She raised her hand. The air grew warm. Light filled the chamber. And then, silence. The soldiers were unconscious, breathing but still. Lyra collapsed into Jack's arms. He held her tight. I'm here. I've got you. Soraya knelt beside them, tears falling. She did it. She stopped, them without hate. Jack looked at her. Because she's better than all of us. Lyra opened her eyes slowly. Did I do good, Daddy? Jack kissed her forehead. You did perfect. Suddenly the keeper's voice returned. She has chosen peace, but war still comes. Jack looked up. What do you mean? The galaxy knows. They all felt her power. Leaders, kings, armies, now they will come. Jack stood, still holding Lyra. Then let them come, he said. Because she's not alone anymore. He looked at Soraya. We protect her. Together. They stood at the edge of the ancient chamber, Jack, Soraya, and little Lyra, surrounded by unconscious soldiers and glowing walls. Above them, the keeper's final words echoed like thunder inside their hearts. The galaxy is watching now. Jack didn't need a scanner to feel it. Something in the stars had shifted. Warships were moving. Eyes in faraway thrones were turning. The power Lyra had shown, it was no longer a secret. She didn't mean to show it, Jack whispered. Soraya nodded. But now that they've seen her, they'll all come. Some to take her, some to destroy her. Jack looked at Lyra. She held the core stone, now dim but warm, like a heartbeat. Her small hand glowed faintly. Her face was calm, yet her eyes held the weight of a future far too big for any child. Maybe it's time we stop running, Jack said. Soraya looked at him sharply. What are you saying? Jack knelt beside his daughter. Lyra, what do you want to do? Lyra looked up. I want to talk to them, all of them. I want them to listen. Soraya blinked. But they won't. They only listen to power. Lyra held up the core stone. Then I'll speak with light. They went to the top of the moon. The sky above was endless. Ships now filled it, blinking red, circling like vultures. Jack activated. The signal tower, long dead but still waiting for one final message. Lyra stood at the center platform, holding the core stone above her head. It pulsed once, then again, and finally sent a wave of energy across the stars. A voice followed, clear, innocent, unshaken. My name is Lyra. I'm human. I'm Valari. I'm not a weapon. I'm not a threat. I am hope. If you come in peace, come closer. If you come with war, turn back. I will not destroy, but I will not run. The signal spread, across moons, across systems, across the hearts of those who had only ever known fear. For a long time, no one moved. Then, one ship turned away, then another, then 3 more. Soon, half the fleet had left silently, engines cold. Only a few remained, weapons still aimed, but even they paused. The child had not attacked. She had simply spoken. That night, Jack sat, under the stars with Soraya and Lyra beside him. The fire burned low. The sky above was quiet again. She did something no one could, Soraya said softly. Jack smiled. She made them stop, without a single shot. Lyra leaned on his shoulder. Will they come back? Maybe, Jack said. But next time, we'll be ready. Together. Soraya wrapped her arms around them both. No more running, no more hiding. Jack looked up. The stars shone bright, but one star, directly above Lyra's head, pulsed. Just once, as if answering her, he smiled because from now on the sky belonged to her.